guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I'm Mike, he's Jay, and this is our review of Iron Fist. So,
Iron Fist sounds like the straight up thing that you bought at the sex store.
don't do it. So, here's the thing. We've always been, I don't want to say pro DC. We love DC and Marvel both. But we also love Batman vs. Superman and thought it got an unfair shake. We love Suicide Squad and thought it got an unfair shake. And thought that critics are just like kind of parroting each other for the most part on a lot of things. But here's the thing with Iron Fist. Before it came out, critics, for the first time in the history of Marvel, at least the Marvel MCU or TVU,
Netflix,
whatever you want to call it, just fucking ruined a Marvel property. And again, comes back to political ties. People are upset about the whitewashing, all this stuff like that, and there's that involved with it. But they didn't just like, I don't know what the exact Rotten Tomatoes score is, but they ruined this movie. So naturally, going in to watch it, what we did was, you're a little bit further than I am. I've literally only watched, this is going to be non-spoiler, I've watched the first 4 episodes. This is what they sent to the critics. So they sent the first 4 episodes for them to review, and this is what got the most hate. So we're going to review it with no spoilers, and let's see where we stand on this.
Okay, so here's the thing. I've read some of the critical reviews of this. You gotta call it out. It is political biased. It's political bias as fuck. Because one of the main things that I kept seeing over and over in some of the reviews is it's another boring white billionaire that is, you know, with boring white problems, and it's the same thing done over and over again. Well, that's not necessarily true, motherfucker. I don't know what the fuck they watched. I really don't. I watched Luke Cage. I liked Luke Cage. Luke Cage was a cool show. Jessica Jones was a cool show. There were major problems in it. Sometimes the acting was hit or miss or whatever. They literally gave this no chance to fucking survive above water. Like, Iron Fist, they killed it right away. They killed it DOA. They were like, this is not going to be a good show. And Finn Jones, it was so bad. Finn Jones had to come out, delete his Twitter account. One of the other reviews was like, struggling so hard to find a hero in the show. Like, because you can't get behind the protagonist. Fucking complete bullshit. If you've seen Batman Begins, is the billionaire, he leaves everything behind, a tragedy happens, he comes back later, stronger, faster, whatever. He doesn't even care about the money anymore. You're telling me that he's not a hero and that he's like some kind of prick or asshole. I never got that from him. I don't understand it.
I watched the first 2 episodes, and I do have the critic scores in the back of my head, and I'm watching it, and the first 2 episodes, honestly, I was like, oh, there is some problems with the show. I agreed with part of the sentiment. I don't feel that way now after watching a little bit more of it, and here's where I think that the cross is happening at. First off, people who are pissed about the whitewashing or whatever, you know, it's just, it is what it is. If you want to be mad about that, be mad about that, but judge the show on its own merits. Like, is the show good or is the show not? Forget your own agenda and your own political stuff and whatever problems you might have with it. Or at least come out first and say that. Come out and say, as a critic, I went into this with a bias because I think it's bullshit that they casted the show this way. Yeah. Here's my review of it. I don't think it's fair to review something under the guise that you're reviewing it as a viewer, because that's what critics are. They're just people who watch shit and give their opinion on it, and they should do it with no agenda. So I'll say that. But I'll watch the first 2 episodes of this, and there is some cheesiness. There is, let's go with the problems first off. There is some cheesiness. There is a lot of Daredevil ripoff in this going on. There's so much just by the numbers Daredevil stuff happening in this. It's not even funny. The acting sometimes, there is some B-movie acting in this at times. When Trinity from Matrix shows up, she has one line when he comes up to her and he's like, she's trying to prove his identity, and she's like, Danny, this is going to be really hard. She's like, did you have a library card? And he was like, yeah. And she's like, we can't find it. Like, there's some moments
I turned it on the book late, bitch.
The acting is bad in it. But I find the show lovable. I find the main character, some of the questions about acting and stuff like this.
I thought Finn Jones is good, though.
One of the main things I think people are getting wrong about this is that sometimes Finn Jones seems like he's doing a poor acting job. What you have to remember when you're watching this, and what I find lovable about the character, is the fact that what happened to him is he was in a plane crash with his parents when he was 10 years old. He goes, 10 years old, has this terrible tragedy happen to him, and then he goes through all this crazy shit and he reappears. He's basically, in his mind, still a 10-year-old boy. And his reactions to stuff are hilariously right in line with that. Like, and at first, when you're watching that for the first episode or whatever, I could see someone being like, oh my god, that acting's terrible.
Yeah.
Because at one point, it made me laugh my ass off, too. Someone's like, it's the Klan. And he's like, I'm not scared of Clay. I don't care. Like, his boyish acting can be misconstrued as bad acting, but he's actually playing the character. This is a guy, a grown man who's got all these crazy powers or whatever, but in his mind, he's still kind of a 10-year-old boy.
And he's adjusting to the 21st century.
And I think he nails that.
And I think so too. And you know, the thing about Finn Jones is, I think that Finn Jones did encapsulate this character, like you said, a kid that has been gone from the lifestyle of New York, you know, this rich and famous lifestyle that he had going for him, coming back to New York and dealing with these people, dealing with past friends, and dealing with the lifestyle that he left behind. He is like a child. He is more like, I don't understand why people just can't get along and eat oranges and have flowers. So I felt like, yeah, there is some Daredevil rip-off-ish stuff going on, but there's also like a Batman Begins feel to it, and I like that. I think it's a really cool thing that they were going for, and I enjoy it.
And I actually questioned that first going into it. I was like, oh my gosh, this acting is kind of weird. It's kind of off-putting, and like a lot of it does feel very Daredevil-ish. Like the opening. I mean, God, come on, guys, you gotta do more different opening than that. It's way too Daredevil.
The music, like the music,
yeah,
when he's doing the
whole thing. The music in the show is great. They actually incorporated it, and I think a lot of people miss this. If you remember the movie The Guest and movies like that, horror movies doing this, It Follows did this a lot. They've got this weird 80s centric kind of beat going on in the background, mixed with the soundtrack of like Wu-Tang Clan and shit, which is what he likes to listen to. And it's such
cool, yeah.
It's so cool and original, and I absolutely love that. The bad guys and the whole feel of the show is very Arrow-ish. And I'm talking
Arrow-ish, yes, big time.
First 2 seasons Arrow-ish, whereas it's kind of cheesy and kind of television sitcom-y. Mainly one of the main bad guys, who I won't say anything about for spoiler reasons. Like at one point his son comes to see him and he's sleeping in this box. He's like, oh, you woke me. I find it so serene in there. I just can't help but drift off. Like that guy, and you've got the Hand in this involved again, which is directly from Daredevil. So there's a lot of stuff that ties into the Daredevil stuff, but the one of the villainesque characters in this, Ward, I absolutely love this guy.
Ward's great, yeah.
He was friends with Danny when he was kids, and now that he's come back, Ward is in control of the company, and he's like Justin Long mixed with Billy Crudup, mixed with Lee Pace. He's got this amazing voice. Like, he's such a good bad guy. And you know what? He's not totally a bad guy because I sympathize with him. When he's going through with his family and like, he's supposed to be this giant asshole, but you know, he's also taking medication because he's so stressed out. I sympathize with the villain, which is huge. It matters so much. The villain is way underrated in my opinion. I think Ward's fantastic. I think his sister,
is he really the villain though? Like, you know,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I think
he's questionable. But
things are going to change at some point. I love that guy's character. He's the villain at least to start with. I love his character. I think he's great in the film or in the show. I think Danny Rand, I think he does a great job in the show. The action is they try to do Daredevil.
They get there.
They get there, but they try to do the Daredevil thing. There's literally a hallway scene.
I know.
And it's like,
that's what I thought
it's just not as good. Like, you know what? The action scenes, they're not as good as Daredevil is. They are Daredevil. When you've got those, there's a couple scenes in Daredevil that like floor you. You're like, oh my god, I can't believe it. And this is just stock action footage.
Daredevil is the Abercrombie and Fitch of action, and then they're more like the Dollar Tree. But you know, it still works though. I still enjoyed it. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it at all. And
it's not perfect, but
yeah, but it works, man. And I think that I really feel bad for Finn Jones. I really do, because I think that Finn Jones took this part, and I think that people missed the point. Like you said, they missed what he was trying to do, what he was trying to represent with that character. Again, a child mindset coming into, he's naive. You know, that's really what it comes down to. He threw a shoe at me. He's naive. He doesn't really get it. He doesn't know why people are still acting like douchebags. He doesn't understand that his friends that he grew up with are assholes now, and they don't want anything to do with him, with, like, you know, Ward and the other chick. He's like, what the fuck? Why can't we just go back to being like, you know, 15 years old? We were good friends then, or 10 years old. And he doesn't get it. He doesn't understand business. He's just there trying to get his name back and his reputation back and to embrace who he was. And I think that's relatable. I mean, that's extremely relatable. It's like, you know, besides the money, I mean, I'm going to say this. How many of you guys out there have actually related to Bruce Wayne and Batman? You know what I mean? He's a billionaire. He's got all this fucking money. He's got all these gadgets. But what he's gone through, what he is, he's not that money. He's not what his parents are, right? But you can relate to that. You can be like, yeah, I get behind Bruce Wayne, Batman, because he suffered a terrible tragedy. He doesn't care about the money. He just cares about justice and doing what's right. That's what Danny Rand is. Danny Rand is the same kind of character. He doesn't care about fucking money. He doesn't care about what they can give him. He just wants his name back and to get his friends back and to have a belonging to the world.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, the critics misstepped here, especially in this area, because I feel like they immediately passed judgment on me, like, well, it's just a childish, stupid thing, and it's a white people problem. I'm like, you know, you lost me when you said that, so whatever.
It's like, I could understand and I could get like a 45% rotten or a 60% fresh or something like that. Bottom line, how I feel about the show is this. It's not as well made as Daredevil or some of the stuff that you would expect from a Netflix original. It has some cheesiness to it, and it's very by the numbers superhero-wise as far as certain things go. We've seen a lot of this before. But what this show has is a charm. It's got, much like Arrow is on the CW, as I said, it's kind of cheesy and it's kind of TV-ish, but there's a charm underneath it. And I think that this show has that too, especially with the kiddishness of Danny Rand. I absolutely love it. That's my favorite part of the whole show.
I think that's exactly what he is. It's getting better and better and better. And I can't wait for the Defenders, man. I can't wait till all that kind of culminates together and what we're going to have to get, you know, all that interaction is going to go on. And it's unfair that it got like such a shitty slate against it.
I can understand some of what the critics are saying, but I think there's a whole other side of the critics where some of them are piling on, as they do with DC and stuff like that. And I think that there's a whole side of them that are politically fueled, which is just stupid. It's a show. The show for me is a 7.0 out of 10. I think it's got a lot of problems, but it's entertaining, and I like it.
I'm going to give it like an 8.0. I actually enjoy it a lot. I don't enjoy it as much as Daredevil. At the end of the day, I think that critics are being unfair, and I think it should get a fair shake. And by the way, I want to say, the Iron Fist himself is badass. When his shit glows, when he finally unleashes it, because I was waiting for that for a lot of the episode, and I don't think we get there until like episode 3, but when he finally fucking does it, I feel like I'm Bruce Leroy in The Last Dragon. You know, you gotta get the glow to grow.
I can't wait to see like it full on, like him to use it for a whole episode or something like that, or for a whole fight scene. They've only seen bits and pieces of it or so far or whatever, but I can't wait to see the whole thing. And again, they said you're not going to see the suit for a long time, so it's interesting. But comment down below, let us know what your all's thoughts are. Do you think the critics are way off on this one? I don't think they're way off, but I just think it's that vitriol, the same thing you see with DC a lot, which is weird to see with the Marvel situation. But I never felt like Marvel was paying critics. I never felt like any of that. I just don't appreciate this hive mind of highly employed critics to attack the same thing at once and to never just have like a discerning, like in the middle opinion about stuff. It seems like.
But I'm saying, you think that overall though they were being unfair to the show?
I think that some of them were. I agree with some of the critics' sentiments and some of their problems, but I read a couple other ones. It's like you didn't even review the fucking show. It's like some people with Power Rangers, the bad reviews it's getting, they're like. They're basically saying, it's Power Rangers. What the fuck? Comment below, let us know what your all's thoughts are. We love your fucking faces, and if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button and get some goddamn Iron Fist up in you.
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie. We watched it. We watched a movie.